And we are live. What's up, everybody? I've missed you like crazy. We last spoke on Wednesday, and it's been a crazy week since then. I'm here with my good friends from Valley Tainment, Shane and Connor, two of the smartest guys I know, and we're going to get into the debate for tomorrow. We're going to go through some predictions, who we think is at more risk of potentially losing ground because of this. Is this going to be the do or die situation for Biden? What was their incentive for doing it? A whole lot of stuff like that. Then we're going to get into the future of warfare, and will Elon Musk have the most powerful military in the world someday now that he's saying he's going to have a 10 billion robot army? So these guys have been following that closely, and I'm excited to speak with them about that. Guys, how we doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, Brandon. Thanks for having us.
Left work, like hour and a half ago? So.
Yep, just another day.
Usual Valley Tainment hours.
Hell yeah.
Long ones and getting shit done.
That's what we do.
Yep.
So opening thoughts, guys. What's your just initial thoughts of the debate? Like, are you surprised that's actually happening? Do you think it's like a situation where they're putting Biden out there to see if he could regain some ground and see if he's like a viable candidate, and this is kind of like a do or die situation for him? Whichever you guys have want to go first on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's somewhat surprising that Biden agreed to it. I know, like, as of January, everyone was saying that they were going to switch out Biden by now, or possibly by the DNC. But if they're having Biden go and debate, then they're clearly not ready to replace him. And then I think how it's shaping up to be is it sounds like it's going to be kind of a snooze fest, honestly, because they're going to cut Trump's mic so he can't interrupt. So his mic's just going to be off when he's not ready to talk or when it's not his turn. And they're going to give him 1 minute. Was it 2 minutes to state an answer and then 1 minute rebuttal and then 1 minute rebuttal to the rebuttal, something like that?
Yeah, which this might be controversial, but I've kind of been advocating for that for a couple of years now. Like, I think that might be an underrated positive thing that they're going to turn the mics off automatically because, you know, regardless of who it is, it's kind of annoying when they talk over each other. It's like on a podcast when people are talking over each other and, you know, you don't really get anything out of it. So I think that might be a sneaky underrated thing that could work in his favor because remember, what was his number one thing last time that they were bashing him about after the first one? Is that like, oh, he's rude. He kept talking over Biden. He kept interrupting, blah, 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 you know?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, like, hypothetically, like, it's a good thing in general. But I just, for these specific two candidates, and also knowing how, like, Biden's loaded answers are going to be so pre-written and fake and just, you know, oh, my economy's doing so well, and he's just going to, like, rattle off figures, like, at State of the Union. It's basically going to be Biden's State of the Union speech, and then, you know, Trump going hard, but he can only go so hard in 2 minutes. So I agree with you that it is good for the long run, but yeah, I just want to see Trump go off.
Yeah, I agree that Biden's going to give the canned stump speech he always gives. He's going to do all the predictable things. He's going to hit the convicted felon line, of course. He's going to mention the very fine people hoax. He's going to talk about January 6th. He's going to hype up the numbers taken from the end of Trump's term during COVID to compare that to his job numbers and his economic performance. He's going to say, look at all the jobs I brought back, when it's really just the economy recovering from everything Democrats did during COVID. There's no surprises here. That is, I would be shocked if anything surprising happens tomorrow night, because we've already seen this twice. The two Biden-Trump debates in 2020 did not move the needle anywhere. Have you ever met a person who was like, well, I was going to vote for Trump, but then I saw Biden perform on the debate stage in 2020 and I completely changed my mind? No. Everyone's already set in their opinions. Everyone already knows what they're getting. These are two of the most predictable candidates we've ever had. I mean, Trump, you know, his whole reputation is being unpredictable, but it's a predictable kind of unpredictability. You know what you're going to get with him, even if you don't know what crazy thing he's going to say. So maybe there's the possibility of, you know, one of the famous because you'd be in jail type lines, but I don't think Trump does that kind of thing anymore. So I'm not expecting too much out of this, to be frank.
So you don't think this could be a situation where if like if they have this thing out and it doesn't move the needle at all for Biden, you don't think that's the situation where they pull him, or even if he loses points, you don't think this is the kind of breaking point where they decide to pull him? Because what else do you think their incentive would be for kind of fast tracking this thing along and making it happen?
Well, much like the State of the Union, I think there's a very real risk of Republicans setting the bar too low. The reason people kind of took away from the State of the Union, it was actually pretty good. Biden conducted himself well. He didn't. He stood there and he yelled and he lied constantly. But because every big Republican voice was saying before, he's just going to come out and crap himself and die of a heart attack immediately. Well, he didn't do that. So by the metric they set for him, it was a success. So we have to be realistic about whether they have shot Biden up with drugs or he's just managing to be a little bit more focused. I think he's going to beat the bar that the average Republican voter has expected for him, and they're not going to switch him out because of it. I think what they're going to do is, if he performs well, if he does anything other than the crap himself and die of a heart attack performance, they are going to bring him all the way across the finish line and then switch him out. And whether that's for Kamala or Newsom or whoever else, I can't say, but I think that's what they have in the works. I don't think they switch him out before November.
Yeah,
Really?
honestly, I think they have so little time now at this point, and like they probably had the talk with Newsom. They probably had the talk with Michelle Obama. By the way, that piercing, is that
I'm getting a crazy amount of text on my laptop. I'm trying to shut it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like the thing about switching them out right now is they don't have that requires a lot of maneuvering of personnel, and it requires like I can't even imagine the amount of paperwork and filing for that candidate will have to file in all the states and like get donors to sign check. Like you can't just like Biden already has his Biden campaign, Biden for victory, all that stuff. I don't know the legality of just transferring all that money to a different candidate this late in the game, and it probably can physically, logistically be done, but I don't know if the Democrats in Biden's administration just seem to be so lazy. I don't even know if they want to have to deal with all that work. Like, you have to remember, these are real people, and in some ways, real, like, the truth is more prosaic and more commonplace sometimes than the conspiracy theories will have you believe. And I think a lot of it just comes down to, we just don't even feel like it. We don't even want to replace Biden. But at this point, let's just see how this goes. The people already know who he is. He has one of the most household names in the Democratic Party. That's why they put him in the first place. They don't have to like sell him, in the same way they would have to sell Newsom. Like, who is Newsom? Who are his children? Like, what is his backstory? They would have to do all of that in a very short amount of time, and I don't know if they're willing to take that risk at this point.
Oh man, I hope that's the case, but I'm cautiously thinking about it like super differently. So I think that the most negative thing about Biden for the Democrats is that he's Biden, because I think there's a lot of lifelong Democrats that are so disturbed by what he's doing, the product that he is, that's what's putting them in a place where they're considering Trump. And the same thing for the Black and Spanish voters. Like, so I almost worry that if they threw somebody like Newsom in there, that would get some people to be like, oh, okay, it's not Biden anymore, so I could go back to being totally against Trump, because they associate inflation, the war, and the immigration stuff with Biden strictly. So if they throw somebody new in there, they could act like that's not going to be an issue anymore. So
the kind of deal I could see potentially happening here, I don't see them switching presidential candidates. What I could see them doing is switching out Kamala Harris as VP. And I know Newsom's in a lot of speculation, so let's go with that hypothetical. Let's say they want to get Biden through November, have him win, and then maybe a few months into his next term have him step down for health reasons or whatever, and then the vice president gets to finish out his term, and that's Newsom. They make the bargain of, okay, Kamala, you step down and allow Newsom to take your place on the ticket, and he'll make you attorney general. Because remember, Kamala Harris is a prosecutor. That was what her whole career was. She got her start in the California judicial system. And if Newsom says, you're an absolute powerhouse legally, I loved the way you locked up all those black guys for marijuana charges longer than they should have been in California, come do that at a national level. I think that would be the kind of deal that says, okay, we're not trying to sideline the first African American and American Indian whatever vice president, whatever race Harris wants to pretend to be today. They're saying, no, we found a better place for her. She's now more powerful. She's now able to affect change for oppressed minority communities, while under President Newsom, we're able to start getting those policy agendas in place that they really want. So I think that's probably far more likely than swapping out whoever's at the top of the ticket. But like I said, and like Shane said, it's not likely they're going to do it at the convention because the amount of effort required, and also the fact that they then have like 3-4 months to try to sell the entire country on some brand new person they've never seen. I think they just hand Trump the election at that point.
So you think they're just going to roll over and take a loss like that, though?
Because, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think they have steps in place, just like they did the last time. They have the media apparatus, but I don't think. I think they recognize that switching out Biden for somebody else before the election allows Trump to win, and there's not enough mail-in balloting that they can do to make that make a difference.
I think they're going to try everything but that. So no, they're not just going to roll over and take a loss. But I think at this point it's clear they're not going to go the route of replacing Biden.
Wow. I think that like he's going to be down by what, 5 points? It looks like by the time this is all said and done. Like if you take out RFK, a lot of people have him down 5 to 7 points in a lot of these things. So I even heard CNN saying that they would probably consider taking him out if that was still the case after this debate. But
yeah, I mean, there's still articles out there like here's the Hill in late May. Democrats can still jettison Biden as an August surprise, but this is an op-ed by a guy who's hoping that this is the case. It literally says at the top, the views expressed by contributors are their own and not the view of the Hill. So this is just one Democrat who's like, guys, there's still time. We don't have to do this. And same thing goes for this Business Insider article. 7 Democrats who could replace Biden in his 2024 election. I mean, this is just like a journalist doing wishful thinking. This is not coming from the DNC. This is not coming from, any kind of high echelon of power. There was talks in, I think, January, February of Obama meeting with Wall Street people and being like, so what do you think about Michelle? Like just floating it. But I mean, we're almost out of June now. So it is true. They could, like an August surprise could be possible, but I don't know.
More powerful.
Yeah. I think what we really need to watch for is, illegals voting and mail-in balloting. That's really because it doesn't honestly when you can steal an election, doesn't matter how shitty your candidate is. If you can just get some razor-thin margins in key states because of stuffing the ballot boxes, it doesn't even matter if Newsom's in there or not. So I mean, I think that's way more important, and I really want to see Republicans pass that bill that they have to mandate federal voter ID laws.
Yeah.
They really, really need to do that. And I cannot believe that they haven't put that to the floor for a vote yet and are thinking of postponing that till August. I mean, it's just like, guys, what the fuck are you even doing? Why does anyone send you money, donate to you? If we can't secure the presidential election, then there's no point to having a government or a democracy.
And here's the other problem with switching out Biden for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit of wanting to replace him, the desire to see someone else there, is widespread and powerful. Like if even CNN and The Hill are running pieces about it, it means it's reached the highest levels. And I think most Democrats were very unhappy with Biden from the get-go, but they just figured he was better than, other options, particularly Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But even with the desire to see him replaced, they have no plan of action after that, because then that would immediately open up the floor to discussion of who's gonna step into that role. I think it would be impossible for the Democratic base to reach a conclusion. They are going to, put it. Okay, let's open it up to discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have the super radical wing, like the wing that has blown past AOC in terms of radicalism. They're going to want the most far left, profoundly anti-Israel, pro-reparations, like whoever they can find that fits that category. Then you're going to have the more conservative wing of the Democratic Party, if such a thing even still exists. You're like, no, we'd love a more traditional Democrat to fill that role. We'd love somebody who's like, more polished, more establishment. And I think they'd run the risk of dropping all those people straight into RFK's camp. Really, the most galaxy brain move the Democrats could pull off would be to ditch Biden and make RFK their candidate, because then they'd pull independents and the lingering core of their base. But they're never going to do that, because you see,
Karens will be so mad.
Exactly. Biden is losing black voters. He's losing the radical youth vote, and he's down with a lot of the core groups that are typically markers of Democrats doing well. So, like I said, everybody wants to get rid of Biden. Nobody can agree on who to replace him with, so I think they're stuck with him. They can't change horses midstream on this one.
That's what freaks me out, though. It's like everything's pointing in a positive direction from Trump's standpoint. Like, like the polls are heading in his favor in every direction, whether it's black, Hispanic, women, young people. I mean, obviously, white, middle age, and older people have always been in his direction. But I feel like we're not being paranoid enough and being concerned about what the plan is up their sleeve to counter that.
Yeah, but
comes down to ballot harvesting and dragging out the mail-in votes.
I was just gonna say, things can look good for Trump in every way possible, but as long as they can rig the election, doesn't matter. So and they're confident on that.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch combo of George Floyd and COVID was what put them over the edge. They were able to get away with whatever they wanted during that time, because it just opened up the floodgates. They were able to push through everything they needed to get Biden over the finish line. Mail-in balloting, general paranoia. They tanked the economy. They locked people out of their jobs. They blamed Trump. They used the media establishment to say, all sorts of medical misinformation that he was pushing from the podium. He wanted people to inject bleach, guys. He wanted them to eat fish tank cleaner. None of those things were true, but everybody believed it was a thing at the time, because
they're shit out of luck in terms of having crises to exploit right now. Israel Palestine is just terrible for them. Like we saw with Bowman and Latimer.
Yeah. In fact, it fragmented their base severely. The Republican base is almost completely on board with Israel. In fact, all the conservatives who generally don't like Israel are reluctant Republicans at best.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, they fall into the, kind of fringe Nick Fuentes type category, or at least until recently when more people started paying attention to the issue. But for the Democrats, it was only ever a loose coalition of pro-Palestine and pro-Israel kind of held together by other Democratic agenda items. But now that that's at the forefront, they're suddenly realizing, well, we can't really hold these people together on that issue. And it's driving a much bigger wedge than they anticipated.
Yeah. We got Humberto in the chat now. Humberto, what do you think? You think that if Biden shits the bed in this one, do you think they're going to replace him, or do you think that they're going to ride it out with Biden? That's where we've been kind of going back and forth on. I think this is like a testing situation to see if they need to boot him, and these guys think they're going to go all the way with Biden no matter what?
Brandon,
Yes.
they're
What?
gonna push their best Biden. They have many Bidens, so they're gonna pick the best Biden and they're gonna push him out. They're gonna pick the one that talks good, looks great, smell incredible, a guy that can walk upstairs, downstairs, and they're gonna drug him up. So I think we're all in for a surprise because I know at least 2 Bidens that can be up to task with a great script writer, and yeah, like I wouldn't discount him out of the whole debate. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, Trump won, Trump is gonna destroy Trump, whatever. Like I don't know, people are tricky. You saw
You think Biden's gonna come out and shock the world?
Oh yeah, he's gonna be the most articulate person on the planet.
Okay, so what's the best case scenario for Biden though? He comes out and just outwits Trump with like articulate catchphrases and makes rock solid points and makes Trump look dumb. You think what's that scenario look like?
We already know the talking points, like both
like abortion and what's his name? Convicted felon. How many times do you think he says convicted felon?
we
10 at least.
A couple dozen.
write it down. I'm gonna write it down right now, and we're gonna place bets on it. $10. Are you guys in?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, 10.
All right.
So what's the over under then? If we're putting money on it,
I think the over under should be 5.5.
Okay, so are we like Price is Right in it, and we're closest without going over?
Yeah, I think maybe closest to the number wins.
I'll go 15.
Wow.
Right, Connor. 15.
Now, is that directly stating the 2 words convicted felon, or just mentioning the felon talking point?
That's very important.
That is important.
Because he's going to be slurring. He's going to be fucking up. I don't think they're going to roll out the best Biden. I think they're going to save that for the next debate, personally. But
okay, I think it needs to be the phrase convicted felon. It's easy enough. And I like you guys. I don't want to fight. We can get into the nitty gritty if it was like alluding to it, if it was making a metaphor. Convicted felon.
Okay, if we're going based on the words, I'll drop it down to let's go 8 or 9. I'll take 8.
All right. 8. Brandon?
I'm gonna say 5.
All right.
I think he goes late with it this time.
Okay, I'm gonna surprise you guys. I think he's gonna go 3.
Ooh.
I can definitely see that.
Listen,
he's either all in, or he just tries to mention it in passing, and there's no in between there.
I think that's gonna be like his punchline each time he makes a point. Like he'll be like, yabba 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 yabba, like a convicted felon.
there's a logic to the madness. I haven't seen him say it since it happened.
He's kept it in the holster. He doesn't want to water it down.
Do you think he's because everyone else at CNN, MSNBC, they've been saying it like a lot.
I think I saw some press release or tweet from him, but that's from
He hasn't said it verbally. That's the thing. Biden has not addressed it verbally since it happened. But if you look at his campaign advertising, the tweets from whatever handler pretends to be president on social media, they actually use the convicted felon line or allude to it quite frequently. Like they just made a gigantic ad buy. I have a report on this on VT.com from a few weeks ago about they spent a few $1 million on this ad talking about, he's guilty of 34 felony counts.
I actually read the article. Great article. People should go to VT.com and read the whole article.
Yeah.
And leave a comment.
You'll see the full breakdown of it. It's like 34 felony counts, and he was held liable for sexual assault. He wasn't. He was found liable for defamation against the sexual assault case. But
I have the numbers here? Okay. Here. I have the numbers here.
Okay.
Would it be okay to get the chat involved?
Yeah. Chat.
Give us your predictions.
How many times does Biden say the term convicted felon tomorrow during the debate?
Okay, Kevin is coming. He's coming in strong with 20.
Whoa,
that's ambitious.
My kind of guy.
Right.
That is ambitious. So, guys, comment Like we have, I went with 3.
Wow, we have a Hans
5,
Gruber in
Connor
here.
8, Shane 10.
Let's keep it chat says, let's keep it simple. If Democrats are so great, then why is everyone leaving California? Why is Hollywood leaving?
Okay.
Why did aerospace leave? My insurance for my home went from $2,100 to $4,000 annually. I know, Hans. I can't understand why people are still left in California and why California keeps voting Newsom back in. But hopefully the nation learns from California's mistakes.
Well, see, here's the problem on that. The people fleeing California, yes, they are obviously trying to escape bad policy and everything, but it's only a very select few who are actually waking up and realizing the cause for all this. Everyone else is just engaging in democratic colonialism. They are taking the ideology with them to go plant Democrat colonies somewhere else, because that's how the history of the country has always worked. Reasonable, conservative governing makes a place really nice to live. Low cost of living, high standard of living, low crime. Makes everybody want to move there, including the liberals who vote in all the terrible people who make it suck. So everybody leaves and they go, and thus does the cycle begin anew. So yeah, that's why people keep winning, because people aren't changing. People are changing their location, not their party, not their ideology. And
keep your ideas at home.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon, we're holding the chat accountable. I literally wrote down the chat here. I wrote down the chat.
Nice.
And we're gonna keep them accountable. Kevin 20, hands 4, nice hands and feet. This is kind of creepy, but whatever. 7, Manitoba First Nation, my favorite person in the chat. He's always there. Shout out to he's a day one.
He's an OG, yeah.
And Rambo with 15. So tomorrow, I mean next stream, we're gonna discuss how wrong you guys were, because I'm gonna win. I'm the only one at 3.
How about this? If somebody gets it right on the money, we'll send them a link to StreamYard so they can hop on with us the next time we're on.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. You like that?
Yeah, that's great.
Again, I'll say it again.
Say whatever you want.
Yep.
Free speech platform.
Hopefully it doesn't get us a strike.
Or just don't get Brandon banned, but
yeah. All right, so I'll say it again. Everybody who just jumped on, if you accurately predict the number of times Biden says convicted felon debate tomorrow, I will send you a StreamYard link during our next live stream, and you could hop on with us. So
you say whatever you want, but don't get Brennan banned. Just like how on Unusual Suspects we have to, kind of dance around some things, but you get the idea.
Or you're Vinny and you bulldoze straight into the issue, hang the consequences. Either way.
And then Humberto has to appeal a ban.
Yeah, we don't
certainly make our lives easier if you play by the rules, but
I just got out of YouTube jail. Don't send me back.
But back to the debate, I think.
Yeah,
back to the debate itself. I'm expecting it, like I mentioned, to be largely what you'd expect. It's the same talking points. The policies haven't changed that much. The men haven't changed that much. We know what we're getting. But I think where the interesting dynamic will come in is seeing how Trump handles the situation, particularly with the moderators, because he is in. I mean, he's in enemy territory anytime he steps foot on a mainstream network.
Right.
But CNN, particularly, where he is alone in a room with Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, and Joe Biden, and Bash and Tapper have control of his microphone. That's some fraught territory for him. So I'm interested to see how he'll handle that. But I think he expects the ambush that it will likely be, and probably has a way around that. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a kind of not restrained, but like he's not going to do the bully tactic like he tried in the 2020 debates where it's just talking over Biden the whole time. I think he's able to adapt more effectively to a changing debate scenario than Biden is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Question: do you think RFK is angling for a spot in Trump's administration? Because did you see what he said yesterday? Here, I'll play it for you.
No, yeah.
Not going to be there. Who do you think is going to win? the debate?
Long.
I think, well, I don't like to make predictions, but I would predict that Trump will win because I think Donald Trump is good. He could win a prize for the greatest debater in modern American history, probably since Lincoln Douglas. And I'm not saying that based upon my own assessment. I'm saying that based upon watching him run through 16 Republicans one at a time and just demolish them in his debates. And he has all of these extraordinary techniques. He's extremely entertaining to watch. He has an ability to make up facts and then believe them absolutely and sell them to the crowd. He's just, he's like watching, he's an entertainer. He's a brilliant entertainer and nothing phases him. And he has extraordinary debating techniques. So I don't think it's possible for President Biden to beat him in that debate.
So, this is a nice layout. How to do this?
Should have done this from the get-go.
Yeah, I have no idea how this happened, but this is great. Yeah, do you think, why the hell would he say this if he's trying to win this thing? This almost makes me wonder if he's trying to get a spot with Trump's administration and kiss his ass a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, he almost went full ass kiss, and then he said, well, he makes up facts. So, it wasn't like full on pander. Mm-hmm. But if he was not trying to get a position in Trump's cabinet, he probably wouldn't have complimented him that much, because I feel like earlier in his campaign he was more anti-Trump than that. I mean, he's saying stuff like, Donald Trump is like a demagogue and is somebody who, comes about when the gridlock can't be solved, and it's just a way to express anger, but it's not rational, it's not good for the country, that type of thing.
Right.
It's clear he's far more anti-Biden than he is anti-Trump, and that's kind of always been the case.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's angling for a cabinet position, but I think he's well aware of the fact that it wouldn't hurt to be on good terms with Trump, regardless of what position he ends up in, just because I think Trump's going to want allies who, maybe aren't necessarily across the aisle, but are at least a few degrees to the left of him. So I think he's positioning himself well. I don't know if RFK has admitted to himself that there's no chance he's going to be president, but I would have to imagine, because everything I've heard from him, he at least seems rational and self-aware. He's not delusional. Right. I think he knows he's a long shot, but I think his goal is to cause as many problems as he can on the way out. And
who do you think he pulls from more?
I still think it's Biden.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what the argument. I hear a lot of people saying he's going to take more from Trump than Biden, but I don't see that.
He's more anti-vaccine than Trump, but that's his single right-wing position, and even that's not really all that right-wing. Everything else, from his reparations plans to his approach to a bunch of other subjects, and his appointment of Nicole Shanahan as his running mate.
Big mistake.
Yeah. It shows that he really is much more of a Democrat, and he's said, other people have said, he didn't leave the Democratic Party left him. It's leftward drift into radicalism left people who were like Kennedy kind of stranded in the independent category, but he's not an independent. He is a Democrat from 30 years ago, which is better than a Biden wing Democrat, but not by much.
I mean, the guy, he's a Democrat, and if people forget, he's a Democrat, but he's not crazy. He's not crazy, I think what he said is the most milquetoast, I mean, it's nothing new. Come on. The other guy can't even string a sentence.
The ass of another candidate? That's kind of new.
He's not kissing ass. He's just being real.
He's the greatest debater of all time since, what do you say, Lincoln Douglas, who I don't even know who that is, by the way.
That's blowing so much smoke. I love Trump, but
Brandon,
he's not the greatest debater since Lincoln Douglas.
Brandon, that's the Lincoln Douglas debates between Abraham Lincoln And
gotcha.
Stephen Douglas.
I thought somebody was named
So,
Lincoln
yeah.
Douglas.
Like, these are literally the greatest debates of all of American history, where they debate slavery before Lincoln becomes president, and they
Right.
like literally, it's literally like a philosophical dialogue of like two competing visions of like the American Constitution and American law. So he's basically saying that Trump is just like one hair of that. It's like, all right.
I even disagree with
That's history.
I disagree with the compliment. I think Trump is definitely not the greatest debater in modern American history. He's probably one of
the hero we need.
he's probably the greatest.
He's far better at the bulldozer tactic.
I say he's the
where-
greatest marketer in political.
Yeah, he's the greatest marketer. He's the greatest entertainer. He's probably the funniest president we ever had. Like I can name things that I really like. But at the same time, like, and this thing, like, it's so stupid. Like in the history, like since Socrates invented debates back in the 1800s, nobody has ever. I see shades and Connor's face.
Keep going.
Keep going. Hey, nobody ever.
Let's get heated.
Nobody ever.
Yeah, when they invented English with Socrates.
Yeah, when they invented English with Socrates. Like
everybody knows that debate was invented by Eleazar P. Debate in 1845. Before that, no one had ever compared ideas.
Debate.
I just got fact checked. Nobody has ever won a debate. You know,
Interesting.
We're a thing. Nobody has ever won one. Like tomorrow night, okay, this is gonna happen, and everyone will pick their winner. You pick your winner. You pick the person that
the narrative.
Huh?
It's all about who wins the narrative. Because I mean, like, what was your narrative takeaway from Trump versus Hillary? It was like, oh, because you'd be in jail, right? Or what else? Like the Jeb Bush thing, like
more energy tonight.
Right. Like, oh yeah, you're a tough guy, Jeb.
Yeah.
More energy, best tie.
There's a lot of material.
Yeah. So I mean,
I know
how you win a debate is like when people are talking about like a certain 10-second stretch during the debate, and that's what's memorable about it. So it's like creating memorable moments. I think that's how you win a debate.
Yeah. So, no, go ahead.
Do you win it? Do you actually win it? You don't win it.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, we're gonna see our side saying Trump destroyed Biden.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even there, and then you're gonna see their other side. President Biden knows how to adjust a microphone correctly. You know, they're gonna find something that they like.
Trump exposed himself for being the fascist that he is. He still stands behind the white supremacists he told to stand by and wait for his orders to carry out another January 6th.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah, like it's so tired. Like
there's never not going to be a funny phrase.
Yeah, I know most of us have been working in some kind of political coverage since the last election, at the very least, some even longer than that. It's the same thing. It's so boring to have to talk. Russia has been debunked so many times. The Charlottesville very fine people hoax has been debunked more times than I can count.
Show your taxes.
The Trump tax returns thing, like we have been over the same thing
over and over again.
But we're doing it again.
Trump deserves retribution, like he deserves revenge season, baby, as Humberto says. But
yeah, boy, it's revenge season.
But it is annoying that we have to live. Yeah, we got to live through the same fucking algorithm, the same.
But you know, like, what's a win for me? Because we need to define our wins. I need new funny Trump clips.
Yeah.
Like
I
watch.
A win is a memorable moment. Think about
revenge.
When the Romney lost against Obama.
When he didn't hit him on Benghazi.
Yeah, but also when there was that like iconic image of Romney standing there like this. Remember that? Like,
yes.
That was embedded in the entire nation's head of this guy, stiff Mitt Romney versus swagger and Obama.
Yeah.
We're streaming live. Jeremy Francisco just yeah.
Jeremy Irons.
We're live on YouTube.
Jeremy, it's happening.
Huh? He can't hear you. Wait, let me
headphones in. Yes.
Okay, there it is.
Jeremy, give us a hot take for.
Okay.
Hot take.
Will Biden die?
So we're gonna watch. Huh?
Will Biden die on stage?
I mean, the possibilities are endless. Hopefully not, but Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's a cold take. All
It's
right,
a cold thing.
I expect more from you, Jeremy.
come on, get it together.
Try harder
Sorry.
next time.
All right,
Okay, got it.
yeah, be right next time.
All right.
Yo,
But
so
yeah,
guys, why? Wait, Brandon, do you want to finish up on this? I just want to start.
Yeah,
something
no, go ahead,
before
go
we
ahead.
go. I was going to say, why do you guys think Biden chose the podium?
That
Because
is
he
weird.
wants to be on the right, like everyone.
He wants
Like
to
that's
be
the
on
only
the
right
right
thing
wing.
he's gonna do. Huh?
He wants to be on the right wing.
Yeah, he wants to be
think
right
it's-
once.
Yeah, it's something as because first of all, you know he didn't choose it. You know it was whatever campaign advisors made the decision.
Why did Anthony Blinken choose it?
Yes,
Maybe to
I
make
think it has more to do with we want to be we think it'll be closer to the camera. The eye will go there first, and you'll see Biden, and it's more a dominant position. Everybody knows that.
Earlobe.
Yeah, speak last would be the smart choice. Instead,
I don't-
he deferred the option of who gets to make the final closing statement to Trump. Trump chose to speak last. So the final thing you hear on the debate stage that is not the moderators dismissing the program will be Trump's closing argument that lets him completely rebut whatever Biden says. So I even as we reported on it, I struggled to understand the tactic behind it.
I
It's
can explain.
some weird
I can
power
explain.
move that no one gets.
Of course.
Yeah,
And
let's
I'm
find
gonna
out
be-
from
I'm gonna be-
Humberto.
I'm gonna be serious this time. The
Okay.
thing is, most of them and the guy that said the parameter, like that said the thing, is a boomer. They're both boomers, and they don't know we live in clip culture. We live in clip world. Like the people that are gonna see like the wide angle is very limited. You know.
Oh my god, it's so good on cable. It's gonna be great.
I know people that are gonna. It's not even. Is it gonna be on cable?
No, I'm saying like when Biden's on the cable screen, it's gonna look great when he's on the right
I
side.
know. So 90% of people are gonna see clips, and when someone's talking, you go straight to them. So big loose on the Biden camp because everyone's gonna catch the clips afterwards. Nobody will know which one was right and which one was left.
Now, if
Just-
I'm remembering correctly, actually, Humberto, in the last debates in 2020, at least in the second one, I think Biden was also on the audience's right hand side, and I can't remember what he was in the first one, but it.
Well,
is
he was
it
on
like
he was on the audience's right.
yeah. So like he was on the left hand, but that's the same place he'll be this time. He'll be on the audience's right, the left hand side as he faces the stage. So is it like, well, this is my lucky side. I won
Dude,
the
it's-
last time I stood here.
It's the earlobe. They're hiding the earlobe of the real Biden. It's obviously that. Like, there's
But
no-
Brandon, be serious. Do you
Yeah.
think it really matters? Like getting the last words, the closing statement is much more powerful.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but so Biden was able to pick that, and then that gave Trump the ability to pick which whether he spoke first or last, right? Or did Biden
Yeah.
choose?
It's
Yes.
no. They flip a coin. They flip
Right.
the coin. This is for real. They flip the coin.
Yeah,
And Biden got to pick if he want to go last or he want to pick the side of the state.
Well, actually, the
So-
choice wasn't even to go last. The choice was either pick the podium or pick the speaking order.
right. Oh
So-
wait, that's an important distinction though, because if it
Yeah.
so if you chose which side you wanted to be on, that didn't automatically designate the other person to be last, right?
No.
Trump's-
No, so
Wow.
what it did was they flipped the coin, and in the ridiculous time in which we live, you could easily see CNN trying to throw Biden a bone by skewing the coin toss in his favor. Whatever. I don't know how they would have done that,
Yeah,
or if
and-
they put an actual coin, but whatever. So when
Mm-hmm.
Biden won, he had the option of choosing, or of making it so he could choose the podium, or he could choose the speaking order. So
Mm-hmm.
not only did he defer the ability to speak last, he deferred the ability to choose who spoke last. So he could have opted to choose the speaking order and chosen to speak first or last if he had wanted to.
right.
But instead he chose where to stand. And like Humberto said, it's up close shots in our modern clip culture. So you can't even tell who's standing where for the most part. It barely matters.
Now, under the same logic, because the only people that are gonna watch the whole thing and will know what was his first or last is us nerds that will watch the whole thing. Most people will just catch a clip, so it doesn't even really matter who speaks last because it's gonna be clipped anyways. I'm sorry.
Mhm. It's true too.
And this comes from the number one clipper in the world. So I know.
Number one clipper in the world.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
so have you guys like dug through the internet to see if there's an explanation for it? Because I haven't, admittedly, and I'm curious now.
I have seen
let's
nothing.
look up what's happened. So I'm gonna look it up.
I'm looking it up too.
They didn't do any sort of formal explanation for it. It
He
was
said
just
here.
that's what we wanted to do.
So Messina, who's Messina? Jim Messina, Barack Obama's campaign manager, who's been in close contact with Biden's team, told ABC News, he just likes that side, and it's a personal preference.
Hey, solid.
I
That
like
makes
it.
no strategic sense one bit. And then I
I mean,
saw the
I guess good for you for picking what you like. It's a kind of power move to say, no, I'm picking where we stand. But
no, it's like in football. If you're like, because when you flip the coin, you get to decide either if you want to kick off or which side you're starting on. And nobody picks what side they're starting on unless it's like crazy windy or something, and there's like some clear advantage to it. But that's the equivalent of what he did. So I see the Daily Beast saying that's just typically what side the host decides to be on, like in late night TV and stuff. But that's a stupid reason too. So the fact that there's this like lack of reasons is making me more suspicious about it. Like people say the whole earpiece thing, but I don't think he has the processing power to have an earpiece in his ear and like repeat what he's hearing in his ear. Because I mean that'd be insanely difficult, right?
Yeah, well, right now they have him at Camp David with Ron Klain and several other advisors, and it literally says they're huddling there. So they're in like boot camp, and it says, hold on, when is this article from? This is from June 21st. They've been doing this for 5 days.
crash course and how not to sound like an idiot on live TV.
Yeah, and then it says, toward the end of the debate prep, Biden is going to take part in a 90-minute mock debate where he's standing the whole time to get practice for standing. But Jim Messina claims that we made Obama do that too. That's another advantage for Trump because he does stand up at those lecterns and gets his 2 or 3 hour rambling monologues at his rallies. So underhand compliment where he's like, well, yeah, it's easy for Trump to do because he loves to ramble. Well, yeah, for 3 hours because he's able to do that at his age. But, Joe's not. That's just because he's rambling. And then it says Trump is holding policy meetings with advisors and congressional allies on issues like immigration, the economy, and democracy. And meanwhile, he's doing campaigns in Philly and is doing fundraisers. So he's just like, all right, what should I talk about? Okay, cool. I'm going to go do some fundraisers. So the energy is obviously on his side.
All right. Now,
what you got?
No. This is the other thing to consider.
Okay.
Okay, we already talked about the coin flip. We talked about the positioning. We talked about who talks first, who talks last.
Yeah.
Trump has another card under his sleeve that most people, especially mainstream media, because they're all idiots, they're not considering, is that Trump can go beyond his time.
What do you mean?
Meaning that Joe Biden doesn't have the ability to produce digital content immediately or previously. You know what I mean? Trump can come in right before the debate with a fire clip to set him in a good position, or a fire video to set him in a good position, or he can position himself with things that he says on the debate and make a post-mortem video. He can make a video right afterwards, he could actually, actually, let's go. Let's see the debate. If he starts live streaming a post game, and he can get all his points in, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Biden doesn't have the ability to like call cameras in and do a video without being overly produced. Trump does this all the time. He has his streaming room. He sits there. He talks to the microphone. So so he can go beyond the debate in a very like fast way. I don't know if I'm getting my point across.
No, that's a good
I get you
point.
totally.
But so yeah, and that's what I was going to bring that up too. I was going to say what's a way for him? Like, what would your strategy be to like optimize the situation for him? And I think like the most important thing is like him getting basically a sick clip from this, like a big memorable 10-second moment where he really like either makes people laugh or really makes Biden look stupid. So what angle would you take as far as like strategy or, setting up or engineering a counter, like a back and forth to try to create that memorable moment that everybody's like, wow, I can't believe he said that in this debate, or like, oh, I can't vote for him now. Oh, I definitely vote for Trump now. Like, would you go for immigration, economy, the concept of war? Like, would you talk about like the potential to get drafted, like the fucking nuclear submarine off the coast, the girl who got murdered by the immigrant, the people having $5,000 less of disposable income? What?
It's the economy, stupid.
It's economy. It's a draft. He could destroy the whole prep that Biden is doing right now by releasing a video right before the debate. And whatever point they cut him off, he can talk about it later. He has to reach. He's gonna get to like the same amount of people or more people that CNN gets to. Because what's the difference between a clip that is cut from the debate, that's what most people will see, or a clip purposely made after the debate? There's no difference.
Because the media is dying, yes, the mainstream media, but they're still, 30% of the total market share. So, I mean, they're going to harp on stuff that happens during the debate. So I think he needs to have some kind of memorable moment in the debate to optimize the debate.
I think hammering Biden on the consequences of the immigration issue. Yes, the economy is probably going to be the backbone of the Trump argument of when you had a businessman in office, you had more money in your pocket. Gas was cheaper, food was cheaper, housing was cheaper. Everything was better when I was in office. The only reason it got bad when Trump was in office was because they destroyed the country for COVID. But I think if there's going to come a moment where he tries to drop the hammer on it, it's you have allowed in millions of unknown, undocumented people, and we are now having American citizens raped, murdered, robbed, brutalized, beaten on a daily basis, and that is because of you. That is because of the Biden administration and the people that they have allowed to be in charge. They have turned a blind eye to this. They've allowed Laken Riley, for example. That situation is directly because of them. And I think if he's able to deliver that punch in the correct way, of course they're gonna say, "Oh, Trump's just being racist. He's calling Mexicans rapists and murderers again." It's predictable. Like I said, we've seen this all before.
Yeah.
But I think he can sufficiently back Biden into a corner on why didn't you fix this? Why did you allow this to happen? Everybody knows it's your fault. Why do you keep saying you can't do anything about it? You're still president. Why can't you do anything right now? Mm-hmm. And I think that might be enough to give him an edge in that particular discussion.
What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I think just from judging by how our Instagram goes with what articles people like, people really love economy stuff.
Yeah.
And like a simple article about, or a simple video clip of him talking about the tips, how he's going to take off taxes on tips, that did really well. And I think there's just so many simple, easy populist victories Trump can win on this, I'm going to make your life less difficult. I'm going to make things cheaper. I'm going to lower gas prices. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even have to explain how, because they'll accuse him of being anti-environment if he explains how he'll reduce gas prices. But, like, if you just keep it simple and keep it, like, your life, your actual, tangible, direct physical life will get better. You will have less of a burden on your shoulders on a day-to-day basis. That's more powerful of an argument than anything about foreign policy or immigration, honestly, for most people. I think immigration is a very strong issue for the base, but for the people that Trump needs to persuade over, it's going to be so simple for him. All he has to do is just talk about the economy and how expensive everything is. Like, remember when he had the Tic Tacs on stage? That was another thing that did really well.
Yeah, Biden Tic Tacs.
Like, look at that. Can you even see that? That's Biden Tic Tacs.
And that's let that serve as your reminder to follow Valuetainment on Instagram. We post a lot of really good news content over there.
Yeah, I think we rival Humberto for clipping, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You guys are not even close. I'm sorry. And most of the clips you guys get, they're from this guy here.
Nah.
Right. So Great stuff on that, guy. So to change topics quick on something that's been on my mind a lot. I've been really stuck on this whole Elon Musk saying that he's going to create 10 billion robots in the next years thing, because I've been thinking, like in terms of thinking of like who has the most powerful military in the world, for the longest time it's been, the amount of men that you have with guns, the amount of advanced weapons you have, the amount of firepower you have with guns and whatnot. But now with artificial intelligence and potentially robots, I could see a situation where just a private company is more powerful than the government from a military standpoint. And that's a pretty unprecedented thing. So I know you guys have been digging a lot into this. And so what do you think? Do you think that Elon Musk could have the most powerful military in the world in the next 10 years if he actually does what he says he's going to do?
Yeah. Do you have any of those clips to pull up, Brandon?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Could you pull up the two I slacked you directly? You don't have to open the article up, but
Yes.
Those explain a lot, because basically these are clips from Elon at his shareholder conference the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's insane. He's basically explaining to the crowd why they should give him his pay package and how well Tesla is going to do, and why they should continue investing.
The build rate is.
Oh,
I think the build rate.
Here we go.
I'm trying to get my article up right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but to fill in while you're pulling that up, he wants these. It's the Optimus robot, which, just so everyone knows, that's the humanoid robot that looks like a person with a screen for a face. Kind of unnerving.
Is this the right one?
Could you pull up the other one first?
Yes. Let's see. Oh, I see. All right, here we go.
I think everyone in the world is going to want one, like literally everyone. And then there'll be obviously robots in industry making stuff, and so I mean I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will probably be at least 2 to 1, something like that. 1 to 1 for sure. So which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots. Maybe 20 or 30. And so then it's like, okay, well, let's say, you kind of make, let's say the build rate is, I think the build rate will be probably something ultimately like 1 billion a year, humanoid robots, like actually. And if Tesla just has a 10% share of that, and it might be a lot more than 10%, and there's, we make like 100 million Optimus units a year. For reference, the auto industry is roughly 100 million vehicles per year. So that, sort of similar ballpark, at least within an order of magnitude. And I think we could make one for a cost of maybe at really high scale of about $10,000. It's smaller. It'd be less expensive than a car. So, and I think if you sell it for $20,000 something, this is at large scale volume, Tesla would basically make about $1 trillion of profit a year. So, yeah.
All right.
So how fucking insane is that?
That's it. Yeah.
He says at least 1 to 1, so at least 10 billion robots, if not 20 or 30 billion robots roaming the earth. Everyone's gonna want one. And then he has said on a different occasion that he wants them doing household chores or working in factories. And then at the end there, he says we'll be making $20 trillion, or we're making $1 trillion a year. But he says that Optimus will, in the other clip, he says Optimus will make Tesla have a $25 trillion market cap.
And that's the
So-
whole GDP of the U.S. right now.
Yeah, for
It's
reference,
more
like,
than the S&P 500.
Nvidia has 3 trillion right now, and Microsoft just beat them again, but they were the #1 company for several weeks. So 3 trillion, like 25 trillion at least, as they just begin to roll these out. I mean, he would be de facto most powerful man in the world.
100%, because I mean, it'll make economic growth skyrocket like crazy, which will put us in a sick situation. But how the hell do you control these things and make sure they don't start murdering everybody if they get some kind of like cyber corruption? I mean, it's literally the movie I, Robot.
Oh,
Yes.
they will murder everybody. Oh yeah, they will. Like, I mean, this is bound to happen.
30 billion.
They will murder everyone.
You're familiar with Asimov's laws of robotics because of iRobot. That's the laws the robots have to follow. Among them being like robots can't kill a human being or by inaction cause harm to come to a human being. Don't forget the often forgotten 4th law of robotics: when turning evil, display a red indicator light, just so everybody knows where we are.
Right.
But look at what we've already gotten with a lot of the products from Elon Musk. Back when Russia first invaded Ukraine, there was a bunch of people who were calling on him to disable the Teslas of Russian oligarchs. They're like, hey, Elon, why don't you use the back door in the programming to shut them off, and we'll punish Russians by taking away their Teslas. And Elon did not say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's impossible. There is no back door. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to.
Right.
There's a back door in every Tesla that allows it to be remotely disabled. And whether it's someone at Tesla, Elon directly, anyone else who has that access information can remotely disable a Tesla. Remotely interfere with the operations of a Tesla, whether that's extending some degree of control over it. It kind of remains to be seen. It's a little hazy about what they can do, but it's there. So if there's 1 billion Optimus robots, 2 billion Optimus robots walking around doing chores, doing factory labor, doing farm work, doing grunt work, building things for us, that back door is going to have to exist somehow. And who's to say what's possible with it? Elon has these very high-minded ideals for what humanity is capable of. No, it's just going to free humanity from the drudgery of daily labor, and we'll be free to think higher thoughts, be more creative, pursue the more meaningful things. But instead what we'll do is just outsource everything to a robot so we can have more time to be lazy, because that is how human nature works. So ultimately, whoever seizes control of the robots won't even need to oppress us with them. They won't need to turn them into an army and enslave humanity, because by the time we have 2 billion Optimus bots doing everything for us, we'll already be enslaved. We'll already have subjugated ourselves just in the name of convenience. So, of course, they could turn evil, but they might not have to. They might just be evil from the jump.
Yeah, and that's best case scenario, that they make us lazy and complacent. But the fact of the matter is that he'll control the entire workforce and the entire military capacity. I mean, they're going to be much stronger than humans and much more sophisticated. So, like you said, it's going to have a back door. So even if he had the best intentions in the world and doesn't want to interfere with the back door for political reasons, like, who's to say that somebody else out there isn't capable of hacking into the things or hacking into the entire network? Or what if he dies and somebody else is suddenly in charge of the things, and then suddenly we have twice the amount of the human population with things that are stronger and faster and smarter than us?
Yeah, and it's not even just the Optimus robots.
Should the government regulate it? I mean, that's really what this comes down to. Like, same thing with AI. Like, do you think the government needs to get ahead of this and regulate the thing and like sort of take control of it before it like gets to its full capacity? But then you're not in much of a better situation if the government's in control of a 1 billion strong robot army.
I think humanity needs to get ahead of it and decide not to do it.
Yeah, but when have we ever decided not to go ahead with technological innovation?
Never. And that's kind of the point. How many times do we have to repeat the same thing, whether it's an election or technological horrors beyond our comprehension? Should we have made nuclear warheads?
Oh,
but we did it.
What do you guys
Brandon,
think?
Brandon, this is what's going on. Okay, we're gonna have a Tim Cook, Steve Jobs situation. Steve Jobs never wanted colors for the iPhones. He dies. First thing they do, they release every single color. So that's what's gonna happen. I'm sorry, that's what's gonna happen. And second thing, like the fact you guys think we're gonna own these robots, like we're gonna rent them, like like we're gonna start by renting them, like even when
Subscription fee.
like listen, you don't really buy a Tesla, you don't buy it, you have a subscription fee. You can't tamper with it, you can't change the engine, you can change the wheel, you can't change the software. So do we really own these robots? Like the gap between the people that know the technology that's shaping the world and the people that have no idea even how to fix their toaster, like the gap is too big. Okay, so we're gonna have a bunch of people with technology that's way greater than anything that they know, and they're gonna kill us all. That's what's gonna happen.
It's like the ultimate monitoring tool too, because you know that's going to have a camera in its eyeball, and you know it's going to have a recording device in it.
They're not gonna kill us all. We're gonna kill each other with them. That's how it's gonna play out. It's going to be Chinese robots versus American robots, and the entire world is gonna be covered in these things. Dude, if there's 30 billion robots, you're not gonna be able to walk outside without seeing one.
No.
There's gonna be robots literally everywhere. You're gonna be like stepping over them and fucking like accidentally kicking one over, and someone's gonna be like, "That was my robot." Like they're gonna be so invasive to absolutely everything. And then as soon as there's some kind of war that kicks off, they're immediately gonna be drafted, or they're gonna release a whole new set that are stronger, more powerful, and like they're gonna have some really annoying ringtone or something, and then like when the war starts, you're just gonna hear it all the time. It's gonna be so stupid. I mean, also very cool and very interesting.
Well,
I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be a pessimist even if I'm being apocalyptic, because it's just.
I'm in this stupid camp. It's gonna be stupid. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go buy land somewhere really far, far away.
they'll find you.
I'm not gonna allow any of those things to come in. And people are gonna take holidays. They're gonna take a break from the whole robot thing. They're gonna come to my place and they're gonna pay me for it. Okay, no phones, no robots, no screens. They're gonna come there. They're gonna sit in a tent and they're gonna shit outside. That's what's gonna happen.
Far, far away is only an inhibitor to people who get tired. Like if it takes someone a long time to walk to your property, that might stop them from coming. But to a robot that never gets tired, they'll just keep coming.
No, they'll want to go. It's going to be like going to a museum where it's just right now, but just no robots, where it's going to be like trad to have a microwave and like an iPhone instead of having like a robot just like zapping it with plasma to heat it up or something.
Yeah. Shane and I just filmed the special the other day that should be coming out soon, where we talked about this exact subject. And we discussed how likely the Optimus robot is probably going to run on Grok AI. Elon's AI that he's created for X, because he no longer trusts OpenAI. He thinks it's politicized. He thinks it's controlled from the top down and all that. So he wants his own version. That's why he's built Grok. Mm-hmm. So what that means is that when the robots come to kill all of us, at least they'll make dick jokes while it happens.
Yeah, they're gonna be Redditors. They're gonna be really annoying Reddit robots that say stupid quotes from like Hitchhiker's Guide.
Bro, defending yourself against robots is cringe. 42.
They're gonna make those jokes in 2040.
Oh, Jesus. Kill me now. Can I opt out? I don't want to see it.
Literally, while Elon is doing this shareholder meeting, it's 4:20 o'clock. He looks at the time. He goes, "Oh, it's 4:20."
I just like crack him up so much. The 420 and the 69.
I know. He doesn't even smoke weed.
I always thought our evil overlords would be cooler.
69s.
The problem here is that we let nerds get out of hand.
Like he smoked weed once on Joe Rogan. Now he's just like stoner for life.
Like there was a generation that didn't pull enough underwear. They didn't do their fair share of bullying. And this bunch of nerds, they met each other and started coming up with stuff like, because it's an uneven surface. I just, the only thing that I'm hopeful for is an asteroid or a solar flare, so we can restart this, because this is way too far gone. We're way too far gone. Like there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, robots are building robots, and think about how fast that grows exponentially.
And how stupid that he said factory workers. Why would you, like, if you have the technology to make robots, why would you have them walking around? Why don't you build a machine to build other things? Like, what's the obsession with the humanoid form? Like, it's the humanoid form is not even good. Like, have you tried taking a picture? What do you do with your hands? I don't know where to put my hands when I'm taking a
What?
picture. Huh?
What are you saying?
Like, when someone goes and takes a picture of you, what do you do with your hands?
It's true.
Like in terms of the form of efficiency, the humanoid shape is not necessarily the most efficient, but that's where you get things like the Boston Dynamics robot dogs. Brandon, I actually just texted you a video we watched a little while ago. I don't know if you're able to pull it up off your phone or not, but it's of one of those robot dogs. The Chinese military, so take it with a grain of salt. It might be completely fake because it's China and they've been known to lie about these things. But they have one of those with an assault rifle strapped to the back, teaching it to shoot things. And then there's also the one that hit the market over here.
This shit. It's the most fucked up thing.
Yeah,
ever.
you can buy the flamethrower dog for $3,000. So the Optimus robot will just be among the various machines that are strolling around, but they'll have all sorts of functions, all sorts of different, fun, unique ways to kill us. Inbuilt flamethrowers, mounted assault weaponry. Maybe we'll be at laser technology by the time they rise up against us. I don't know. What I'm saying is it's not just Elon who's pushing this. That's the problem. He'll give us a few billion. Yeah. So right here. Who looked at one of those things and said, you know what that needs? A gun.
Well, you knew that.
You know what? Pull ups your dystopian robot dog.
Dude, of course China does this. Like, American nerds do it, and they're like, look, it can lift up a box. China just instantly puts a gun on it. Fucking, they have no chill.
It's funny, though, how it's like that's how shitty China's at building things. Like, they have to take one of our robots and just, like, stick a fucking AK on top of it. Like, all
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's like might as well be taped to it.
It probably is.
Because,
they attach it with the same adhesive glue that they use for the Cybertruck that has the trim falling off now.
But assuming the video's not fake, that means it works. Which means if they can reproduce those at scale, then the dynamic... Like, think about what has happened in the era of drone warfare. We're seeing it right... I think the
right now?
Yeah, end-stage drone warfare is in Ukraine right now.
Yep.
Where you can go on Twitter, X, whatever, scroll through and see Ukrainians committing untold war crimes with drones. Which is watched a whole platoon of Russian soldiers beg for their life while they dropped bombs on them.
And they're crushing it right now.
Yeah. Drones have changed warfare, and we're now at the end stage where drones are cheap, drones are everywhere, and drones are deadly. This is the next evolution of that that's going to change the whole thing all over again.
The one positive part about that, though, we were talking about this the other day, is that, like, the military-industrial complex has kind of boxed out competition and, made it impossible for other competitors to get in and take market share. But the shittiness to which they've built things and, like, the lack of innovation required for what we've needed to do lately is, put us in a position where we've built a lot of useless shit that's not very effective in Ukraine right now. Now you have freaking teenagers building drones in their garage that are more effective than the stuff that we're sending over there. So I would love to see a, nice innocent startup come along and build drones or something that's actually useful for today's type of warfare in a much more efficient way than the military industrial complex is right now, because, they only exist because of how much the government has created favorable policy for them.
Well, so I think the era of the tank is done. It's over.
Yeah, it's useless.
It's absolutely it's a useless weapon, and to putting people in harm's way. Like, how is it boring? Like, I mean, it might be bloodlust, but is it boring to think robots fighting each other like for wars?
No, I agree with the sentiment you're expressing, and boring might be the wrong way to put it. But, and of course, everybody acknowledges the fact that war is terrible. War is something to be avoided. War is not something to hope for. But the way humanity has conducted warfare from the dawn of time up until the advent of drone warfare, there was at least a kind of honor to it. Even when you were doing dishonorable things as war tactics, it was, if you want to accomplish this, you have to put people in it. You got to put lives on the line. There has to be blood over this to accomplish what you're talking about. But
Well,
what does it do for humanity when you're able to fight these giant scale wars where it's 10,000 drones and 100,000 Optimus robots clashing on a field somewhere? There's no humanity involved. You're just blowing up parts.
And it's funny because I think war, like the definition, you need humans to wage war. And since maybe Vietnam, anything like since Korea, we've been using humans as drones. Like most of the humans they thrown at the meat grinder of war, especially Iraq, Afghanistan, and all those places, they're no better than drones. The way they treated them, like the way they tricked them into it, the drive that got them to go there. Most of them were forced there. So maybe there is something to war that it's been lost, and it's been lost for like over 40, 50. When did Vietnam end?
Definitely.
It was like the 60s. I think what you're referring to, Humberto, is human cost. Because it's not necessarily how wars started, and it's not necessarily how they were conducted. But the human cost, the loss of life, was what ended them. The point was the war would end when either the loss of life became so incalculable that you could not justify continuing, you didn't have enough people left to fight, so you surrendered, or you just ran out of people. There was no one left. Everyone was dead. And that's what ended the conflict.
You ran out of resources.
Exactly. Now if warfare is just, whichever side runs out of robot building tools first, you can continue forever. And whichever nation happens to be more industrialized and have a higher production capacity, particularly if you have your robots working in factories building your warfighting robots, it's endless. As long as you can mine the equipment, build the resources, scavenge destroyed robots for parts to put into the new ones, war will never end because there's no cost anymore.
So that's what I'm getting at. Like, because I think modern warfare makes no sense because it's just resources. It will keep throwing people at it, keep throwing money at it, and that's why we have this endless war syndrome. I don't know, like it's endless war after endless war, and they just fight until they get bored. What I see coming in the future is a more symbolic war. Like maybe they will put like 100 guys on one side, 100 guys on the other side, and let them fight, and or something like that, like a little more meaningful when it comes to war.
No, dude, it goes until it's politically intolerable. So they dragged out the Afghanistan thing until we were totally fed up with it, and the vast majority of people were saying to get out of there. And the second that we got out of there, they created this manufactured situation that they've been teeing up for the last 30 years. So, the fact that an incredibly powerful group of people lobby the shit out of the government to make wars happen, that's what makes wars happen. And yeah, you're right. They can go on forever. And that's what the real shock was with World War I, World War II, is that we were industrialized and could throw millions of bodies into the thing. But yeah, now what happens when we could throw millions of machines into the thing? I mean, maybe less people die, but it could go on for a hell of a lot longer. And we're going to wait.
Think about what World War I was called before it was World War I.
Yeah, the Great War.
It was the Great War, but it was also referred to as the War to End All Wars.
Yeah.
Because it was the first modern war where you had machine guns, chemical weapons, and mortar fire, but people were riding into battle on horseback. People
it was like a transformation, like you were kind of like entering a time machine.
Yeah, and it forced warfare into the modern era. And everybody thought, the thing we have unleashed with mustard gas and automatic weaponry, no war will ever be fought again. The death toll of this is so high that humanity will never arrive here again. And we were back there within 20 years.
Yeah, little did they know
Little did they know what was coming, because we didn't respond to the capacity to kill each other by saying we need to stop doing it. We just adapted. We realized, okay, large troop movements marching onto the field is not effective when you have explosives and chemical weapons. So what did they do? They adapted to trench warfare. Well, how'd they overcome trenches? They built the first tanks to roll right over the top of trenches. They fought World War II, basically locked in dead stalemates, shooting over the top of trenches for like 4 years without making much ground in certain places. And then they took to the skies with airplanes. Every new piece of technology has been adapted just so we can more effectively kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there hasn't been a stop to it since.
That is crazy.
Yeah, what do you guys think? You think this is going to launch us into a Goldilocks industrial booming economy situation, or you think it's going to end us? I mean, I like the historical pattern. I think makes me think that at least for a stretch of time, it's going to send us into like a Goldilocks period where everything is super easy and super advanced, and the economy is booming for a bit. But I think that's like the 10 to 20 year horizon. But I think in like the 50-year horizon, could get pretty scary. But
it's the next arms race. Whoever gets the drone and robot army first. That's not the kind of thing you share. The reason China's ripping off Boston Dynamics robots and putting assault rifles on them is because they expect the United States to do the exact same thing. It's the nuclear arms race all over again.
You guys feel more comfortable within the private sector or the government's hands?
I honestly feel more I would feel more comfortable with the government if the government was, if we win the next 3 elections. We as in not the Democrats.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, Republican Party of Mitch McConnell.
Would you put Nikki Haley or like
yeah, no.
She would fuck shit up.
Non-globalists. Dude, she'd use them so much. She would love to kill some kids with those.
Yeah.
She was signing her name on bombs.
Could you imagine what Israel would do with an army of Optimus robots?
Oh, they would shred Gaza into a million pieces.
Gaza would no longer exist, as would most other Arab nations in the span of a week.
They'd program them to seek out genetics, and then we'd have to stop it from killing Tony.
Well, we already talked about the predictive programming. So I mean, you guys have watched Black Mirror, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Oh, who, Connor? You have Humberto, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Wow, Shane.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was an amazing show until the normies got a hold of it, and then suddenly we had to have gay people and Miley Cyrus in it.
Made a little woke, but
really a little bit.
The seasons are fucking sick, and I think it's predictive programming to the highest extent. So it's about super futuristic technology that's 10 to 15 years down the road, stuff that we've seen glimpses of, the robot dogs are in it.
You're thinking of the episode Metalhead, which is one of the standout episodes of the entire show, where these little robot dogs, they're about the size of a cat, but they have lethal capacity, have taken over the planet and are actively exterminating people.
And then there's one where they have these bees that have facial recognition software, and they a hacker got into them, and they could they played this game where if you voted somebody to get killed or something on their equivalent of Twitter, the bees would seek you out and basically burrow into your ear and kill you based off your facial recognition. And I heard that the government has that stuff now. They have these robot flies that could fly up to you and fracture your skull and kill you based off facial recognition. So
we have micro drones. We have
then you get
targeted viruses.
Why do you think we're gonna get all killed? Micro bee drones that will crash your skulls? What are you guys talking about? We're all gonna get killed. We're all gonna get it. Jesus.
Wear a helmet. What? What's the problem? Wear a helmet. What's the problem?
Wear a helmet. Just
wear a helmet.
Fucking helmet. I'd rather kill myself.
But yeah, no,
bench warmers.
I think that shows predictive programming to the highest extent. I think that everything that that show is more of a documentary than a fictional thing. So everything that's in there, I think that it's around the corner. And the scariest thing in that show, kind of off topic, but it's the craziest form of torture that you could ever imagine. So they're able to clone your consciousness and basically how would you describe it, Connor?
Time dilation. where they scan your brain into a chip and put it into a computer and can make you experience time as slowly as they want. So it's like, they're trying to break a guy for information. They have him experiencing 1,000 years per second, where the digital version of him inside this computer is just stuck in eternity while the interrogators go away for a weekend, and he just sits in a room because it's his brain experiencing this digitally. They're already experimenting with ways to do this, clone consciousness. There was just a thing I saw the other day about, can you rehabilitate prisoners by having them opt into a program where they go into a VR pod for like a couple hours, and it implants memories of incarceration and reform programs into their brain, basically rewires their neurons to make them think feel like they've experienced it. So they go through, I feel like I served a 50-year sentence for my crimes, but it's only been a couple hours. And then, are they rehabilitated? Who's to say? And of course, this is all speculative. It's things way down the line that people are working on, but it shows the interest is there. And we are just hurtling towards this kind of thing that, for all we know, could end our way of life forever. And as always, the people who are saying, maybe we should put the brakes on this and see where this is taking us. Oh, you're living in the past. You're holding us back. This is where we're going. This is the future.
Yeah, you're specious, like Larry Page would say.
Connor, listen to me. We still haven't gotten used to the Gutenberg press. No, I'm not even joking. I'm being serious here. Like, society has not adapted to that amount of information being able to be distributed, even by book.
Explain
by hand.
that. What do you mean the Gutenberg press? I never heard that.
The original printing press, like the first printing press ever created.
German.
Yeah. No, he's saying, like, we haven't adapted to having the ability to go grab books. Like, behind me, look at all these books on the shelf. That's more information than a medieval peasant would come across in his entire life.
Right.
Whole generations would live and die without seeing this many printed words.
Right.
And now
I tell you, I'm not being funny about this. Like, the people that read books, this is going to sound super obvious, but the people that read books are so far ahead from the average. No, you think I'm being dead serious? The people that read books get so far ahead in such a short period of time that we still haven't gotten used to like literally the printing press. Okay, so let alone the radio, let alone television, let alone the internet, let alone instant messaging, and everything. Like we still playing catch up with the book, like to like fully embrace it and make it part of human nature. So we're heading in a dangerous territory. And I don't know if we have time, but I want to bring up my favorite story of the week.
What you got? Let's close out.
It's obviously about poop.
Of course.
This is so good. Do you guys read this?
Parsons threatened to poop in the Seine River to protest sewage contamination had Paris 24 Summer Olympics.
Checks out.
I mean,
given that Paris is mostly overrun with Indians now, that totally makes sense to me.
They probably don't even know it's part of the protest.
Yeah, I just love what they did.
They're just tuning in for the funsies. So basically, the Olympics are going to take place in Paris, 2024 this year, and they're cleaning up the River Seine that runs through Paris. And this river, it hasn't been cleaned or nobody has swum in it because like most of Paris's, waste matter, it gets funneled into the river. And the funny thing, and this got sparked because they promised that we're gonna clean it so good that Macron was gonna jump in there and swim. So, I mean, I don't like the French too much, but this is really funny. So they literally installed toilets, like on the riverbank, and someone made an app. So if you're not in Paris, because the river runs through France, that it does the math, so you can poop in your arm of the river, and you can poop at the right time, so the poop will make it there where Macron swims. I don't know. I just like the level of spite that the French people were having against Macron's government.
Could a robot do that? We're still
Like-
free. We're still human in some regard.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny that this is the most human piece of news I've seen in weeks.
Yeah,
Really?
we're gonna be defined as just being able to be funny and stupid and just irrational, which is kind of what always art was about. So, you know what? I'm for it.
It's
Quite a
really
good
hard.
point.
It's really hard to fake irrational. It's very hard to fake irrational. I grew up in an era I grew up in the random era, when everything was random. What are you doing? No, just random things.
Yeah.
I'm just
Millennial.
so random.
You're so random. And some people had a really hard time adapting to random. Random actually mathematically is really hard to achieve. Like they need to go through like some serious hoops. Like actually it's almost impossible for humans to make random. You didn't know that, Brandon?
Pretty random.
Huh?
This conversation's pretty random.
Well,
Yeah,
it is pretty random.
It tracks pretty well mathematically based on what we've been
Brandon,
talking
let me
about.
cook. This right
Cook.
here.
Go ahead.
It's a poop palate
Let's
cleanser.
put some salt on it.
Yeah, put
Go
some
ahead,
salt.
cook it. Put some salt on it.
Like people pooping in France is a less depressing story. We covered the whole show, so it
In
is
the
what
most
it is.
random.
We ended on a good note.
Ended
Yeah.
on a good note.
Well, guys, I couldn't think of a better way to end it if I tried. So, no, but
I'm sure you could.
A smelly, disgusting note, but a human note.
yeah,
A
symbolic
human note.
Yeah.
and our election process all goes full circle. We start with shit and end with shit.
From shit to shit.
Yep,
And that's going to be tomorrow's debate. So
it sure is. So,
Make sure
All
you watch
right,
the live stream.
I have everyone's numbers in the chat written down here.
we had a lot come in too, by the way. Were you tracking them all?
I didn't see any other.
yeah, I think he got them all.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go back through the chat and double check to make sure everybody's in on that bet.
All right,
but-
see if we have a lucky winner.
Actually, we're not the only official. The only official ones that we're gonna take in are the ones in the comments, so we can tickle the algorithm together. Just comment before you leave. Put your number there, and next stream we're gonna read them out.
You mean in the chat?
It's not fair.
Not the chat, the comments, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, That's not fair. You don't know if those people are still watching, especially after your poop rant. Like 30 people dropped off, or like 70 people dropped off.
I know.
No, that's not true. We're gonna count people in the comments.
They literally did too.
Yeah, it went from like 180 to 100 when you start talking.
It's just fucking plummeted.
Well, it's a normal bodily function.
Hey, it's probably because it's late and they actually have jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure that's it. But
All right.
anyway, thanks for hopping on, guys. This was a lot of fun, and love to do this a few times a week. So great talk as always, and we'll talk more later this week.
Absolutely.
All right. Night, Brandon. Thanks
All
for
right,
having
Good
us on.
everybody.
Anytime. Thanks for joining,
See you guys
guys.
tomorrow.
See you. Bye.